Hi, everybody. I just wanted to do a short video here. I have kind of been using this new resource, and I wish I would have known about it a while ago. The Bible is written in different languages from the language that we speak, and there's a few thousand years at least between us and the New Testament, and even more than that with some of the Old Testament writings. And the Bible's written in a different culture. It's written in a different style. Or I'm sorry, there's different things going on, and sometimes we don't clearly pick up on the meaning of the text because there's cultural background information that we don't always recognize. When I was in Bible college, for one of my classes, I had to read a book. It was called Manners and Customs of Bible Times. And that book was small. I think it was only like 200 pages. And that was actually, I'm sorry, I'm looking that was actually this book right here. And this book was good, but it was kind of like a shotgun of like all sorts of different things, like grinding wheat and different practices in ancient Bible times. And it was a good resource, but the problem was it was like kind of like a shotgun and only covered a handful of things. So I got this commentary in a package on Logos, and I've been using it. And actually, this has actually become, like when I'm studying a text for a message, this is actually the very first commentary that I go to. And let me explain to you the reason why. Now, I don't know what the theological background of Craig Keener or Walton or the editors are. I think I know they're evangelical, I think, of some kind, if I'm remembering correctly. But here's the thing about the IVP Bible background commentary. Here's the thing about these commentaries is that it's not like the commentary style is like the name. It's about Bible background. It's about cultural backgrounds and different things in the text. And so we're going to look at just a few things just to give you an idea. But the thing I like about this commentary is it's not like a devotional commentary. It's not like an application, like here's how you should apply it. It's not even super quote unquote like exegetical or like teaching-ish, if you understand what I'm saying. It's more of like, here are the background things in the text. And actually what it does, these commentaries do is it gives you the cultural background, and it doesn't do a whole lot of interpretation for you in terms of like what the meaning of the text is overall. So like, for example, somebody on Facebook was asking for recommendations on commentaries on the Song of Solomon. And I just happened to skip through here. Here on the left side is the Old Testament International IVP Bible background commentary. And just notice like there's the little foxes that spoil the vineyard. Okay, that happens here. And, it says that foxes in Egyptian love poetry often would represent sexually aggressive men. They'll have things like, I was reading here something about Engedi. There's a reference to Engedi, and it talks about how Engedi is an oasis. It talks about the name of it. It kind of gives you an idea of maybe what it's supposed to mean. There's talks about chariots, and it's going to explain some things about Pharaoh's chariots. Kedar, like places. It's talking about perfumes and all. Like, it's just really, really good stuff that you're not going to get in a lot of other commentaries. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to go to some random place. Like, let's go to Proverbs chapter 7, verse 23. I have no idea what that verse. An arrow piercing the liver. Egyptian tomb paintings often depict the noble deceased hunting in the marshlands. But anyway, so like you can see how it's just very like cultural background information here. I mean, you could stop and just pause and read some of these things. Like, okay, so Romans 5 verse 8. This is the New Testament. This is where it says God, it says, well-educated Romans were aware of Greek tradition in which the good man was extremely rare. Greeks considered laying down one's life as heroic, but such sacrifices were not common, and among Jewish people this was not typically praised. I mean, we could just go to like any random text, like, I don't know, Revelation 3:20. Revelation, table fellowship was a sign of intimacy and committed the guests and host to friendly relations. Like, I mean, so here is, for example, 3:21. To him that overcometh, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, even as I also overcame and sat down with my Father in his throne. The image here is one of sharing God's rule. Jesus shares as co-regent or viceroy, whereas his people share because they're exalted over the earth. And then there's references to Jewish apocalyptic writing. Okay, now let's go to, I don't know, let's go to John chapter 7. It talks about the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's going to explain it. I mean, I don't know, you can just skim through here. There's all sorts of stuff that you're not going to see in a lot of commentaries, like expository commentaries or exegetical commentaries. This, as you can see, like, there's not a whole, I mean, and just a little bit that I've looked at, there's been hardly any, like, strong, like, theological, explanations. Let's just look at 1 Timothy 3:16. I'm sorry, I want to look at 2 Timothy 3:16. The all scripture is God-breathed. Sacred writing was also used for pagan religious writings. I didn't know that. That was interesting. The belief in inspiration of prophecy and poetry and music was widespread in Mediterranean antiquity. So it's just you're going to understand the cultural background more. So like, this is when I'm studying for a sermon, I look at this even before I start reading the text, because there's not a lot of theological explanation. What this is just going to do is, when you read the text, it's just going to help you understand the cultural backgrounds, and that will lead you to, in a lot of places, a better understanding of the text. So I want to commend to you the IVP, Bible Background Commentary Set, the Old and the New Testament. I think it's one volume for Old and New Testament. I found them to be very helpful. Again, regardless of what your specific theological persuasions are, those are not as important for this, just because of the nature of the commentary is about the background stuff. So I don't think you're going to see a lot. In my time using, I've seen very little theological explanations in terms of like, okay, here's the theological meaning behind all these different things, like texts like Calvinism and Arminianism, and like some of the more debated theological things. I've not seen a lot of comments on those kind of things, because that's not the purpose of the commentary. And the nice thing, like, whereas like when I took a class and I read a book on like Bible backgrounds, that was a shotgun approach. This is going to make comments on every single verse in the Old and the New Testament, and is going to alert you to the different cultural things that are there. So I highly recommend to you the IVP Bible Background Commentary, the Old and the New Testament volumes. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.